Welcome back to another episode of Buzzworthy Businesses. I'm Steve Strum. I'm sitting here with John Visser, my wonderful co-host. We can't do it without you. And we have a really great opportunity today to talk to Danny Wyrwas, a fence guy that is raising leaders and has a TED Talk and then something called a Hobbler Dobbler. John, say Hobbler Dobbler
Danny.
three times fast.
Yeah, we can use that for a tongue twister in our next show. Danny, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, John. Thanks for having me on, man.
So we just made a big discovery before the show starts. You're actually on here to start and talk about your fencing company, and then we're going to move into all the other exciting stuff that you've been just informed us about. So quickly, tell us about your fencing company, what you guys are doing.
So it's called Absolute Fence. We're based out of Billings, Montana. We started in 2002 as Absolute Vinyl. And 6 years ago, we saw that vinyl was losing its luster. Montana, Billings, our region here, got hit with a bunch of hailstorms. And vinyl siding and vinyl fencing was really getting taxed by insurance companies. So we figured we needed to rebrand and we needed to readjust. And so we renamed Absolute Fence and we brought in 5 or 6 different products. Our Cadillac is actually now corrugated steel. The body of vinyl fence, which is the tongue and groove, was getting hammered by the hail. So I sent it to my team, says, what can we do differently? And they put together in the shop over the course of a winter, a corrugated steel vinyl fence. So it's a vinyl post and rail with corrugated steel body. And now obviously if it gets hit with hail, it might just cause a dent, but it's not going to blow a hole through it. So that's really helped us. And then we started chain link fence this year. Customers would call us for years to put in chain link, but we just stayed in the niche of vinyl. And now we finally brought chain link in. We do ornamental iron. We do a couple of wood fences. We do a little bit of everything now, but we're still in the residential realm, dealing with customers, not with city code and contracting on highways and that kind of stuff.
You know, one of the things that we were talking about when we were off the set here as we were show prepping a little bit is you're here and you do the fencing, but you do a lot more things than just that. I wrote down just a couple of notes. You have a leadership development thing. You're a TED Talk guy. You know, walk us through obviously the fencing is what brought us here today, not as in sword fight, but as in structures to create barriers. But like that's evolved into so many things. And, you know, for the folks that don't know what the heck a Hobbler Dobbler is, it is absolutely not the bad guy in one of the Lord of the Rings movies. So walk us, how did you go from fencing to leadership development to TED Talking and finally, what the heck is a Hobbler Dobbler?
So, yeah, good question. So in my journey after I graduated high school in 1988, I went to college on a wrestling scholarship. And as a junior, ranked 7th in the nation, NAIA, I walked away. And I walked away because I didn't have good leadership in my life. And I always wondered and sat back and said, if I had good leadership, could I have stuck it out? And I've always wondered, too, about young men having good leaders in their lives to help them and mentor them through the dark times. And in my 20s, it was pretty rough. I was a drinker and a womanizer. And then when the Lord grabbed me, and when I was 30, I gave myself to the Lord, and he gave me my wife and a business. And when I got the business, Absolute Fence, it was never in the cards. I was actually going back to school. I wanted to teach biology and chemistry and coach wrestling. I continued to coach, but I stopped going to college. I actually have 143 credits and no degree. So I started the fence business. And when that happened, Wisdom says, what do you know about business? I said, nothing. She goes, what do you know about leadership? I said, well, a little bit. I was captain in wrestling and coach and stuff. So she said, you need to start studying leadership and business. So I started to go into seminars and I started to read every book on business that I could get, any book on leadership. And I realized that it did me good. And our employees that we worked with, they needed leadership too. So I kind of built curriculum here at our business to teach them leadership, fundamental principles and truth that they could build their life on that could help them in both on the clock as well as off the clock. Well, because I like to study and learn and do all that stuff, biology and chemistry is in my nature. When I was hunting one day, a grasshopper jumped in front of me And Wisdom says, can you catch those? And I said, why? I'd already studied health and nutrition on my own for about 4 years. I teased that I got a degree in it. I just sat down and I was like, man, you can catch these grasshoppers and we can use them to feed our food to make a healthier you and me. Through that stuff as well, Absolute Fence is doing really well. We have really good success. I'm kind of a little bit of a local celebrity here because of our commercials. I've been on TV now for about 20 years. I got asked to go to a biz-to-biz group. This is a referral group where we share leads and stuff. When I went, we were about 12 years in. We had already gone through all of the snags of learning to run business. My bride was like, why are you going to this class? We don't need the referrals. I said, yeah, we don't need the referrals. I said, but the people in the group need help. All business owners and all leaders run into the same problems. When they run into them and how they run into them and how they deal with them matters on the outcome. So I'm like, I'm there to help them. And so being there in the group, I didn't care for the referrals, but I was there as a voice of wisdom and reason, coming from experience, dealing with customers, sales, employees, and that stuff. It doesn't matter what field you're in, it's all the same. It's people and problems. And so they would have issues and I would give suggestions. Well, we changed the class to where I was able to lead for a half hour and I was teaching leadership and business principles to everybody. Well, the gal who ran it heard what I was doing and she wanted to kick me out because all they did was referrals. If I gave you a referral for insurance, you gave me for referral for fence, that's all they did. But she couldn't kick me out because I signed a contract, so she gave me a gag order. Said, you cannot teach leadership anymore. There was 30 people in the group and more than half of them says, we don't want referrals. We want leadership development. We want business development. What can you do? And so I embarked on what's called Elevate Leadership and Business Consulting. I wrote 101 that year. Then I wrote 4 years. It's actually a tease. That's a 4-year college course in business and leadership. There's nothing new under the sun. There's no really new book. I just believe the order of the books that I was given, order from 101 up to 401, can take a person's journey from working for themselves and leading themselves to leading a big team, from making no money to make a bunch of money.
So, as we wrap it, I mean, I could talk to you for a half hour about each item, right? Yeah. I mean, we could go through all of those things. What we'll do is there's just so much. I mean, this is great stuff. Thank you so much for kind of explaining.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and we'll make sure to hang all your stuff on our website on thedailynewsnetwork.com. But as we kind of take it away, so you started a fence company. Then you kind of had an opportunity to use that as a platform to help others. And it's not just about fences anymore. It's about how you're using your gifts, talents, expertise to give back to the community for those that want to know how to get there, that may be struggling. As a Gen 1 business owner myself, I get it, man. Some days I'm happy to make payroll. It's it's just, that's how it is. But, I super appreciate you coming on. Fantastic stuff. John, what a great guy. And, we can't do this without you. And for everybody here who's watching this, man, take a look on our Daily News Network for all the things, the Hobbler Gobbler, Hobbler, Dobbler.
Grasshoppers, Hopper Gobbler.
The Hobbler Dobbler.
And that title, that name is in the video. If you saw it, you can YouTube the Hopper Gobbler.
It's not one that you cannot look up.
It's in there.
In all sincerity, thanks so much for joining us. Guys, for all y'all watching here, check them out on dailynewsnetwork.com. Anybody who loves this, wants to learn more about how one can take a business, propel it into leadership, give this guy a look. If you like us, share us. And remember, live with gratitude.
Amen. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.